Hi guys, welcome back. Today's topic is how to track material waste. Besides labor productivity, one of the primary causes of fee erosion is not tracking material costs. Most companies, when they estimate their materials, they'll estimate a percentage for waste, either 5% or 10% or whatever the case may be. And sometimes they just use a flat percentage across all material types. But how do you know if that percentage is really accurate? Does it make sense to have the same percentage of material waste for each material type? So unless you're really tracking your material usage, you're kind of like betting on a football team that your football team will cover the spread. So similar to labor productivity, your field crews need to track not only how many units of material are installed, but how much material is consumed to putting the material up. To use an easy example, let's say you have a project you estimated 100 gallons of paint, but you've gone through 50 gallons already, but you only painted 30% of the walls. Just like labor productivity, that burn rate, you're burning through material quicker than you are installing it. So either your estimate was incorrect, you have an issue with theft, people are taking material, taking it home, you have a lot of rework being done, or you have a terrible waste factor. Whatever the cause, you need to get on top of it. We've all heard the old saying of measure twice and cut once. That still holds true today. Your field crews need to be accurate and mindful when selecting materials. To use a wood example, if a carpenter needed a piece of wood that's 3 foot 7 inches long, and because it was convenient, they went and grabbed a brand new stud and cut it. Instead, the better solution would have been to find the cut pile, find a 4 foot piece or longer, use it to make your 3 foot 7 piece, reducing waste. Tracking materials is easy when the materials are delivered just in time or right before installation and for a very specific area or assembly. Give an example like a concrete slab. It's very easy to calculate the amount of material in a concrete slab. If it's an elevated slab, you factor in that the substructure is going to bow a little bit, so you factor in a waste percentage. Then you compare the delivery tickets from the concrete trucks to what was actually installed to know what your real waste factor is. Loose materials like wood and brick, things that comes in bundles, that's more difficult, especially when those materials are delivered all at one time for the project. And sometimes that makes sense, like roof trusses. That makes sense to deliver it all at one time, but how you store those materials can impact whether it gets rot or warpage or damage from people hitting it with forklifts and such. So when you deliver materials and how you store materials can also contribute to waste. And then we all fall into this trap where it's just common. A vendor will come with a catalog that has everything you need, the fasteners, the PPE, consumables like rags and those kind of things, cleaning materials. It's very convenient and easy to shop from those type of vendors. The problem is where do the costs match the estimate? If you start receiving these large invoices from these vendors, it's hard to attribute it, A, to the right category of cost. And secondly, do you know what you're paying per unit as compared to how it's estimated? It's very, very easy to fall into that trap. One way to do this, it sounds old-fashioned, but pay attention to the trash pile. Go by the project, take a look at what's being thrown away. Very often, some of those materials are brand new. They're just in the way, get thrown away. They could be repurposed or sold or recycled even. And I get it, tracking how much material is left versus what was delivered can be difficult, especially when you have a project where the work's going on in multiple locations. You really, really need to rely upon two things, your field personnel and your accounting system. Many companies find it useful just to track materials, as I mentioned earlier with the concrete example, of how much has been delivered versus what has been installed. But to do that, your labor foreman has to be able to track how much material is left on site and report back weekly. There are some technologies out there to do this, but most of them are very expensive to implement and equally expensive to maintain. A better way is to really approach this from a cultural perspective. Some companies who are trying to improve environmental awareness communicate the need to not waste and have piles of debris to preserve the environment. Others kind of go along with the old adage, you get the behavior you measure. So they incentivize their field personnel not to waste materials. So the company had factored, or the estimators had factored in a percentage of waste, and that dollar amount ended up being, let's say, $5,000. They would split those savings with the field crew. Let's say, you know what, you save, you reduce the waste to 3% as opposed to 5%. Any money that's saved, you guys split as a bonus. So the bottom line is you have to be intentional about tracking waste. It's all about getting your field personnel to care and installers to care about and be mindful of the materials they're using. And lastly, tracking waste and getting a real understanding of how much waste is needed in your estimates is part of that historical cost data. And that historical cost data helps you on the next project get a real value for waste and help you be more competitive. Like before, if you need any help with this, give us a call. We're here to help you. Thanks a lot. Hi guys, Gary Davila with 7i Operations Group. I want to say thank you for watching our content, and please stay tuned for upcoming videos.